Hello, my name is Pamela King, and I am a 2023-2024 STRIVE participant, and I'm very happy to be here with you, and I hope you are feeling good and great, and I would like to share my presentation with you, so let's get started on my STRIVE experience for the summer. This summer, I worked at the NCTR, and I worked in a microbiology lab, and I want to share my slide with you, my presentation. I teach at Watson Chapel High School, AP Chemistry, Honors Chemistry, Chemistry 1, 2, and Environmental Science. My STRIVE experience this year helped me to step up my game in my science classroom. The experience helped me refresh on hands-on exposure to a lot of educational research and hands-on trends. I also got to look at some cutting-edge lab work at the NCTR. I worked in the microbiology lab with Dr. Christina Fay, who was my supervisor. She was wonderful. I went through the Oak Ridge Institute for Science Education, where we had to do some webinars to enhance our study and make sure that we were following all the FDA guidelines. And we had to sign an agreement. So I wasn't allowed to take any pictures in the facility, but I will give you an overview of the summer research. Basically, they did a lot of research with using qPCR, which is polymerase chain reaction. They looked at DNA molecules and how they were copied over a short period of time. They attached fluorescent dyes to the molecules so they could see the changes in effect of different stimuli on them. For example, the cells were amplified or copied over several generations in a short period of time, and therefore you're able to see if various chemicals or treatments, they're basically the effect on them by looking at the different markers or different dye markers that they had in the different cells that were being copied. So by doing this process, it allows scientists to precisely quantitate gene fluctuations and gene expressions and growth to see if those environmental changes or situations such as the introduction of different chemicals had an effect on them in terms of either growth or declining growth, or if it caused the cells to die or to change in any type of way. So based on their research, they were able to come up with some conclusions, especially about certain infectious diseases such as COVID-19. So again, I couldn't really bring any pictures or charts or graphs from their actual research to show some of the things that I looked at, observed, and was involved in. But overall, I will say that it was a great experience. So I took that knowledge and I used it in my chemistry classroom, and I took the knowledge of the fluorescent dyes and the emission of those, and I had my students set up some lab experiences where they got to use a micropipette, which is one of the main tools that was used in the lab work that I saw this summer. As you know, when you're looking at chemistry and you're talking about electrons, you know that as electrons move from a higher energy level to a lower energy level, you know, they fluoresce light. So because we use fluorescence a lot in the research that was done, I tied that into my classroom lessons, and I was able to use that knowledge to help my students see how we actually use fluorescence in everyday research. So I think that worked out pretty well for them. They were able to actually apply it, not just think about fluorescent light or fluorescent neon bright colors, but to see how those have some chemical basis in what we do in real life applications, such as looking at dyes and how they are shown in cells and how the cells change over a period of time, how we use that in terms of looking at electrons and how electrons are used to combine in some of the various compounds. There were so many different applications that the students were really amazed by their usage. So they got to use the fluorescence. They created, based on concentrations, different solutions. And that was a big deal too. Their knowledge, I let them rank themselves on their knowledge. Most of them hadn't never seen micropipette and didn't know how it was used. They also got to use that in their research, and then they got to do a little bit of engineering, even though that wasn't really a goal, because they actually had to set up and use these mini PCR kits here. So they had to make those and create those. And then they had to use those little micro vials to actually put their chemicals in. And that was great. So they ranked themselves on that. And before that, a lot of them didn't know how to use it, didn't feel comfortable with it. But afterwards, there was a definite increase. There were two students that were absent, so they didn't really get to do the lab, but I did include them in the data because they came a little bit later. And as I go through and I'll update that, I'll change their data. I gave them a pre-test and a post-test concerning the knowledge. And as you can see by the data, there was an increase in their knowledge skills with that. The pictures that I have here are one of the best ones that I've had in terms of the concentrations. They did a good job. They actually had to use different screens. So some of the drawings, they look kind of uh, greenish, and some of them they'll look blue. And that's because they got to use different uh, flow lab screens. So some use yellow and some use orange. I cannot let them use what they wanted to use with that. And it was a great overall experience. I have included the link to the FDA US Food and Drug Administration Science Internship Program. So in case you have any former students or current students that may be interested in going into a STEM career, they can use this link to actually go to the website. So therefore, we're encouraging them to do the science internship program at the NCTR. And like I said, they have students from all over that come and participate in the program, and it is a worthwhile adventure for them and a great opportunity. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Again, if you are interested in being a STRIVE participant, it is overall worth your time and energy to be involved. You'll meet some wonderful people at the job site and in the program. Thank you so much for your time.